Welcome to the Focal Point Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Riggs. Here I take a deep dive into my personal interests of the hidden craftsmanship, philosophies, and passions behind society's talent. If you're intrigued by artistic nuance, please subscribe and follow on my YouTube channel, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. With that being said, let me introduce you to today's guests.
I truly, for those 5 songs, which I think are sadly some of my best songs I've ever done, I literally just like put them out and I was like, there, whoever finds them, finds them.
Yeah.
But that is exactly why.
Yeah. Well, we're recording, so welcome to the show. I run a show now, apparently, so there's that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is your show called?
What's my show called? It's called Focal Point. It's called Focal Point Podcast. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Another white guy starting another podcast.
Yeah,
so that's what the world needed.
You do have a woman on here, so you're doing somewhat okay.
Yeah,
You're still a white guy with a podcast.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, this isn't like a bro podcast. It was just like, oh yeah, blah, blah, you know, it's like those
As a
types.
high value man.
Yeah, for real. There's a lot of that now. It's what's it called? Market saturation. Is that what it is? Yeah.
I don't know. Gosh, I'm so glad that I have no clue what any of those podcasts are called.
Mm-hmm. I've seen clips from stuff like that, and I'm like, is this really like the best podcast format? It's just like guys just like ranting about stuff. You know, is that the best thing?
It's guys ranting about stuff and hating on women, but also claiming they're not gay, which is my favorite part.
Yeah.
They're like women suck. Women are so stupid. I would never be gay. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Sounds pretty gay to me if you're not liking women.
I mean, like, if you hate women, that's kind of like the first step to like becoming gay. It's like, well, what's your other option, you know?
It's like, I don't understand women. Maybe you don't like them then. And they always have some poor like OnlyFans girl on there, and they're just berating her,
just dunking on them, you know.
True. Oh my gosh.
Well, so unlike a lot of my guests, like I don't know them, and that makes it a little easier to interview in some ways because I can be like, oh yeah, tell me about that, but I kind of already know you, you know, so like
yeah.
And I totally forgot about this until I was going back through your material. Like I actually like directed one of your music videos a little while ago.
Yes.
5 years, something like that. I saw that's when it was.
It was 2020 or something like that. Where's the party at?
Yeah. Yeah. Was that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
was the one at the theater.
You assistant directed that, and then you were in another music video. You were in Nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna be frank. I didn't watch that one. In prep.
You don't have to. You already know it well enough.
Yeah.
It's my most watched music video to date, and I still ask myself why.
Yeah.
Why do they like it so much?
From doing that one, actually, like that was your first like real attempt to like make a music video, you know? Because we went down to Nashville, and what was it? It wasn't Nashville. Was it Nashville that we went down to for the studio? Louisville.
It was Louisville.
Okay. It was Louisville. Yeah. But yeah, I figured, because I already know you in a lot of ways, like just how you been?
Oh gosh, I've been so good, actually. I've been really good. I've definitely like changed how I treat my music as an artist. I've been focusing on social media. And I also am really comfortable with some of my other like side hobbies. I'm no longer in college, which helps so much. So I think
When did you graduate?
I graduated in May of last year.
Oh,
so May of 2025.
I forgot you're younger. Like you're a few years younger than me, actually. I always forget.
26.
26. You're 20. Yeah. Okay. Wait, you're 26 now, or you're turning 26?
I'm 26 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I went to college late.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, gap years are very popular nowadays. I've noticed that is a thing.
Yeah. I had no clue what I wanted to do other than sing, and I I was going to go to school for music production, which sometimes I regret not doing. But my producer at the time was like, I don't know why I took his advice, but he was like, if you don't think you're going to make it now, then you never will. You have to go full force into music and do nothing else. So I was like, okay, fuck it. So I did. Am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't censor.
So
And if I did censor, like I would probably put like some like really like funny sound effect over it, you know?
yeah, can it be like a quacking noise?
Be like, you know, something like that.
Yeah, precisely. So yeah, and then I went and did like music full force, but then obviously I didn't have money to make for music at the time, so I still had to work other jobs. But you know, when it came to a job that wasn't playing and singing music, I had no clue what I wanted to do until later. And then I found graphic design and I love it. So I think I'm really at peace with my life, and I have found myself, as cheesy as it is to
And you
say.
didn't even have to go to Europe for that, you know?
No, I didn't. I was in Ohio the whole time. Jeez.
You were originally
Yeah.
going to college for being a nutritionist, if I recall correctly, because you started like working out at a certain point and like, you know, doing a lot of research in that area. So why did you decide to transition from that to graphic design?
I started having panic attacks. And so I'm really good at science. And I really enjoy helping people with their fitness goals. And that's what I do a lot on social media. I talk about like my fitness journey and some of the things that I eat and the nutrition that I follow. But gosh, I was just so unhappy. I think I've always needed to be creative more than not creative. And the fact that I wasn't able to be creative at all for about 2 years straight, because a science degree is really it's really invasive when it comes to your life. So I was going to school, coming home, studying flashcards, going to sleep, going to school, repeating that on top of working. And so, yeah, and there was no space in there for me to be creative at all. And so I think 2 years into being in school for dietetics, I remember I was at work and at the coffee shop, and I was thinking about doing my biochemistry 2 exam. And just the thought of having to do it within that week gave me a full-blown panic attack in the middle of my shift. And I had to go sit in the back room and practice breathing exercises. And when I came back out, there was like a customer there. Yeah, truly. I was like, count backwards from 10, count backwards from 10. And my best friend, Jessie, basically had to shake me by the shoulders one day. And she was like, you are not supposed to be doing this. I just know you're not. Like, I know you, I know what you like. She was in school for graphic design at the exact same program that I ended up doing. And what she had been doing is, because we worked at the same coffee shop, she would do her work and then she would bring her homework to the coffee shop because we had like downtime during like weekdays when it was slow. And she would show me her stuff and be like, oh, what do you think? And I would talk to her about all of her designs. And she ended up telling me that I gave her better critique and better advice on her designs than like most of the students in her class. And she was like, I really think this is for you. Like, I think you would love this. And I told her, I was like, I don't know how to draw. And she was like, you don't really need to know how to draw. You just need to know it looks good. And the drawing comes later. And yeah, and then I ended up quitting dietetics and switching schools and becoming a graphic designer. And now I'm considered a communication specialist, where I'm not only a graphic designer, I can do like video editing, I do photography and photo editing. And I love it. It's awesome.
Well, you kind of have to be, especially for that, like a jack of all trades. You got to be a little bit, instead of being a specialist when it comes to especially creativity, you know, if you're wanting to excel at something, you got to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Well, and that's how music is too, which I think they go hand in hand, where I had been creating things for my music for so long that was in the sphere of graphic design that I didn't even put two and two together, that I had already basically been doing graphic design for years. Or I used to design all of the invitations to the Halloween parties that we did.
Oh,
And
oh yeah, you did. I forgot about that.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so like I have been doing graphic design for years, and I just had never really put two and two together.
As a
So
as an artist and somebody who studied nutrition, have you ever come to the thought of like if everyone just took a multivitamin and drank some water, there would be less artists because we wouldn't be so neurotic?
I think that if everybody, yeah, truly, I just need everybody to eat their vegetables and drink water.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
need everybody to eat their vegetables and drink water and get a singular source of protein in. Just like one. I don't care if it's tofu. I don't care if it's beans. I don't care if it's chicken. Um, but nobody's eating their vegetables. And you talk to the gym bros and you're like, what did you eat today? It's like 7 protein bars. You're like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Um, colon cancer is on the rise for our generation, people, and it's because none of us have fiber. So that's important.
I know somebody who, well, actually, now I think like that actually skyrocketed because my a friend of mine was telling me the other day, like he had to get a colonoscopy when
Yeah, they're like doing
he's
them
not even
younger and
30, and he's not even
younger.
30 yet, and now they're
Yeah,
recommending it to do it like I don't know once every 3 years or something like that. It's
yeah.
nuts.
Everyone eat fiber. I feel like if we prioritized fiber in the same way that we're currently prioritizing protein, which I think both are great, but both are great, you can't have one without the other, then I feel like we'd be set.
Hmm. To spin this back to creativity,
Yeah.
because this isn't a health podcast, and if it would be, like, I don't think I would be appropriate for me to run it, even though
Yeah,
like
if there's one thing to take away from this podcast other than the music is everybody eat fiber, your poops are gonna go well.
um do you obviously I in my opinion, and this is something that I've kind of taken away the longer that I've lived and the more art that I've created, is that the what is it the the tortured artist and the people who like quote unquote suffer for their art is severely overrated. The best things that I like that I've ever created was because I got a great night's sleep, and it really is that simple. Sometimes it seems like, and there's because you have like it's over romanticized in that way. You got
Yeah.
like old pictures of like or like a French avant-garde film where it's always just like some dude with long hair smoking a cigarette and he's depressed, and it's like, wow, this is art. And it's like, nah, I mean, okay, well, I mean, a little bit, but like, um, I think artists taking care of themselves, like, why would you not prioritize your brain and the health of your brain, since that is where everything comes from? And it
I
boggles
think a
my
lot of
mind why
people
some
get
people are
off
like
on
that.
feeling bad.
Mm.
I think people like the idea of it. I think you're right. It is totally romanticized. Um, and sometimes, like, a lot of my songs are super uber depressing. Um,
Yeah, but no, but there's pop music, so like if you can hide it a little bit better, right?
yeah, there's like a groove behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think taking care of yourself is super important. One of the things that when I talked about kind of I've changed my mindset as an artist lately, I've stopped making music solo, like almost completely.
Mm.
And I work with other artists 99% of the time now. Now, none of that music is out yet, but I found so much more joy like sitting with people and making music. Music is becoming a healing thing instead of like oh, I have to
And
be
sort of
so
a venting
angsty.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's also a dichotomy between um, an artist using their personal experience to influence and be able to propel the force that comes behind the creation of their art, and then oversharing in the middle of the art. And I feel like, especially when it comes to music, because with film, there's a lot more layers you can hide that behind, but with music, music, it tends to be a little bit harder. Where have you found that dichotomy when you're wanting to like express something that you've gone through or you've learned about life through different circumstances, and not just making it a oh poor pitiful me sort of thing, because there's a balance there.
Yeah, gosh. I feel like, well, as me as an artist, I've never really been poor me, which has been a problem in some of my life
To be
where
clear,
things
that
have
was not an
gone.
accusation. I'm just speaking
Oh yeah,
broadly.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
But like I think it has to do with your mindset as an artist where when I make, my art or whatever, I try to think of like all corners of what's gone on. So like 14 Months in Total is an album about pretty emotionally and somewhat physically sexually abusive relationship. But the whole time it's not really like it's not like a you suck. It's
Mhm.
I each song kind of covers how I was feeling. There's a song about hate on there where I was talking about how the hate
I
that I
hate you, but I had a
held.
good time.
No, oh my gosh,
Not
throwback
that
to
one.
that one though.
Okay.
That one is from Living in Limbo. This song is called um I don't even know my own songs. This song is
We're just ending the podcast right now. I'm disappointed.
it's called hold on. Let me look myself up on Apple Music.
Like, what did I do? No, I
Quinn
mean, I'm the same
Dorian.
way. It's like sometimes I forget what I wrote. I'm like, oh shoot, that was where I
I
was going to
could
take
I
it.
could totally sing you the entire song right now, but I couldn't tell you what it's called. Hold on one moment. Wishing You Were Dead.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
song.
that's definitely, yeah, that's no oversharing there whatsoever.
So like Wishing You Were Dead is this kind of I also try not to name names too often. Every now and then I'll write a song that's very oversharey and it normally never comes out. And that's normally just for my own.
Do you just write it down on like your notes in your phone, or do you got like a more organized, software or something that you use?
It depends on what I have near me. My finished drafts of songs, I usually use OneNote and I organize everything. So I
Mm.
have a whole Quinn Dorian notebook on OneNote that has every single album. And when you click into it, it's got every single song from every single album, including songs that were going to be on the album, but maybe didn't even make it on there. Um, and then other than that, I've got a whole notes app on my phone as well as voice memos. So it's in between those three apps that I've just got
Mm.
words and melodies scattered around. But yeah, Wishing You Were Dead was very much like, I hate you, but that hate's bad for me, and I need to not have that. So I think it's that, like, it really depends on who you are as an artist. And for me as an artist, I'm always trying to make myself better and to be more at peace with myself. I think my goal for my music is to break down why things happened the way that they did and like how I can learn from that. So I guess if you as an artist, if that's not your goal, that's going to show in your music. And then people are going
Hmm.
to think you're whiny because
Are
you
there
are.
times where you have to, you know, step back and not lean into your own neuroticism in order to be able to produce something? You got to take a little bit more of an analytical look at things, because you can
Yeah,
also
I
overthink just as bad as you run the risk of oversharing.
Yeah, that's so true. I'll do one song that's very overthinking and one song that's very emotional. So I like to kind of explore both ends where I lean into that neuroticism and then I step back away from it. Um, like 6 months and the song 14 Months in Total is a very straightforward, this is what happened. Let me think on exactly what happened. 14 Months in Total is the most storytelling song that I've ever had, where it's basically just like, hey, you told me that you loved me, but then you lied. And it's just very, very straightforward. And then I do have some of my other songs on there, like Built on Sand and, Wishing You Were Dead, um, that are more, I would say, emotional and kind of
Mm.
leaning into those like more aggressive feelings and not as analytical.
Right. When you first started using a music producer, because before, at a certain point, I remember you were doing everything on your own, and then you realized, I need to collaborate a little bit more. When you first started using a music producer, what did you learn about the process of digital production, and how did that eventually influence how you envisioned and made music moving forward?
Yeah, I think it opened me up to collaboration because I was doing things solo for so long. Um, I had been doing some of my own production, but I was so I was such a beginner at it. I didn't know everything that went into it. I didn't know what mastering your tracks like entailed. I didn't know anything about distribution services. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really just learning from other people. But also, I think I learned a lot about how I write as an artist. And working with other producers is kind of a double-edged sword where you do have somebody that helps you in the creative process, and sometimes you end up with something great. And then for other producers, like I think my first producer, which some people love the Living in Limbo album, and I applaud them because I don't I don't relate to the Living in Limbo album as much as I used to. A lot of the songs that I wrote in there, I had completely different chord structures. And then when I worked with the producer, I think we ended up making a lot of the songs in more major keys and kind of, I think, cheapening some of the initial sounds that I wanted to give from some of these songs. So it's kind of like, it's hard because you're handing over basically your baby to somebody who maybe doesn't know you as well. What I think the biggest thing I learned was when you make music with people, make sure you make music with the right people. I have loved producing, like making music with Lucas James. That's my last producer on 14 Months in Total. And then currently, I've decided to stop relying on producers altogether. And this is where I think I've always wanted to be. A little secret that I haven't really shared with anybody is that I'm actually in the process of making a band. So a band. Me and the band.
You started collaborating with people and then being happy about it. You're like, you know what? I want more people.
Precisely. So none of our music is out yet. Nobody knows what the band is called.
Do you know what the band is called?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I do.
I didn't know if nobody meant nobody or if nobody like didn't like not quite nobody.
Actually, I have our little band on my my keyboardist made a keychain for us that has our logo and everything on it. We're planning on our first show is set to play in June, and then we'll be recording an entire EP. And I've got a really good producer overseas that I'm working with. But the biggest thing is all of the sounds coming from, like all the sounds that will be on the songs that we put out as a band, that's all going to be us because we're currently writing that. All we need is to go into the studio, and then I'll be working one-on-one with Joe, our producer, just making sure that everything sounds right, that it's leveled. He'll be mixing and mastering the tracks. And then I'll be talking with him about like some of my vocal layering. But other than that, like the heart and majority of every single song that we do will have been created in the basement of basically my childhood home. And
is it the one that I'm thinking of?
It should be the one that you're thinking of.
The one that I've been I've been to. But okay, that one. All right. Oh, basement. That basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just all wood. It's the basement at my grandparents' house.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they're
this sounds so weird that I'm saying like, yeah, I remember your grandparents' basement.
Basement. It's a cool house. It's like it's all wood and everything.
Yeah, the layout of it is actually it's asymmetrical. It's not a typical like American suburban home.
Yeah, because my grandpa built off of it and everything. And it's funny because we're downstairs in the basement playing the genre leans pop, punk, rock. And so we're down there playing like.
You're just experimenting with everything nowadays.
Oh, well, that was also another thing where every producer has their own style. And I started like really diving into who I wanted to be as an artist and where I think my sound fit better. And I really kind of fell into the niche of like Avril Lavigne and Paramore,
Okay.
where I was like, I think I sit better in here. And you can see some of the influences of that, and like Built on Sand is slowly leaning towards punk pop or rock pop.
Do you get paranoid about the music that you listen to and that gives you, that you're influenced by affecting your own sense of originality?
No, I love it.
Oh, you love it. Okay, so it's
I love it. I think there's only so many chords that exist. There's only so many notes that exist, and every song has its own influences. Like an artist that I really loved, John Bellion, was super influenced by like Kanye's first music that he put out, as well as there's a couple artists that he mentioned, and you can really hear it in his music, like his big music influences. And I think, or Ariana Grande was super influenced in a lot of the vocal runs that she does. And when you take other artists that know more than you, that have lived longer than you, and then you have your own love of music, I think you can really make something beautiful. And that's how all art has been for all of mankind. I think we're all, bouncing off one another, experiencing life together, and then trying to explain that in our art.
Although nowadays that you're preferring to work in more of a collaborative sense, are there times in solitude where you're just in a specific flow state that doesn't make you necessarily question whether or not that's your best working environment, but reminds you that sometimes you just got to be alone and you got to work through your own thoughts without any other external influences?
Yeah, I think what I really love about the band is that it allows for that. I am really big on composing and like composition. That's been what I learned is like this. That's something that I love so much. I love to compose, and I've obviously been a lyricist for so long, but I'm finally getting to tell other people's stories. And I really relish in being able to tell other people's stories. So the way that the collaboration in the band has been, I either get lyrics from someone or I sit down one-on-one with them. And I talk about how they've been feeling, what they've been going through, any type of story or message that they really feel like they want to share. And we write stuff down. We maybe write like a verse, and then I tell them to leave me alone. And I go away. And then I normally spend 3 to 4 hours by myself composing the entirety of the song. And then I end up bringing it back to them. So I get to have that. And if anything, it makes me more grateful for them, because if I'm ever in a writing slump and I don't know what to do, I've got like 4 other band members that have their own life experiences, and one conversation with them, I can walk away and then be able to compose an entire song by myself without even like blinking.
Has there ever been like a circumstance where, because the plus of that is, well, odds are somebody isn't in a state of writer's block or creative block, and how many people are roughly in the group?
5.
Okay, so you at least have a 20% chance of
somebody
of somebody being totally okay right now. Because what I'd like to understand just personally, because I'm a writer, but my writing is more for screenplays. And I've dabbled around with like musical lyrics, mainly because the way that I write tends to be a little bit poetic, and so there's a little bit of there's some like notes that are hybrids that maybe you could turn into a song. Maybe it's just like a really cool quote, or it's something that you work off of for an idea for a story or something like that. How has this new process that you've been engaged in affected your own flow state when it comes to being able to create a consistently output art and creativity?
I have been putting out music twice as much.
Really?
Yeah. I think, and maybe this has to do with me being slightly extroverted as well. If anything, I feel like it's been feeding off of my creativity where I just get more and more involved. Because you and I aren't like rich on our creative hobbies. We do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when you're so involved in going to work, going home, doing your laundry, going to bed, sometimes you forget to take care of the thing that you love the most, which is your creativity. And with the band, there's always something to do, and we have goals that we want to reach. And I've got 4 people that are relying on me to be there. So it forces me to prioritize something that I really love. And then even if you don't have anything creatively in your head, the fact that I get to sit down at a keyboard like every single day and at least once a week spend 3-4 hours with my band just playing music and talking creatively, it starts putting you in that headspace. Like, you are where you spend your time. And I think that it's been the best thing for me. I'd say that it was the highlight of my last year. Like, I love my band. I love them so much, and I think they're a big part on why I feel like I'm in such a peace with myself now.
The thing that I've learned as I've gotten older and have created more works of art, and those works of art kind of tell like a story of your own timeline of what you've gone through, what you've been through, and then also where you're thinking things might go. The thing that I learned, and I would say this is probably very crucial for artists, is that the biggest contributor to your own sense of creativity is that you got to take care of your inner child. I think that because that's the purest form of creativity and imagination, is when you feeling that not childlike state, but that free imaginative state that comes from that sense of everything being okay when you were a kid and not having to worry about anything else, responsibilities, life, and all those things. You got to take care of that inner child in order to actually enter into that flow state that, we were talking about and produce something that's authentic.
Yeah, you cannot take yourself too seriously when trying to create art in that way, I think. Maybe some people do, not me, and definitely not you. I think the best art that you can get is when you're truly trying to be yourself and trying to be as open and honest with yourself as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Do you get, I know, I already asked you that question. What's the most stressful part? Because obviously art is not all sunshine and rainbows, and there's still stress that comes to it, especially if you have a collaborative group like you have right now, and you got to be able to continue contributing on a at least fairly frequent basis in some regard, on some level.
Yeah. Gosh. I think the most stressful part, and maybe this is my perfectionism, is I really don't want to let them down. Now it's not just me. Like, if, again, like the 14 Months in Total album that you were like, I didn't even know you released that. You put that out silently. Like, I can throw something out and be like, whatever. So what? I spent 10 hours on it. Who cares? I'm just going to put it out. I don't want to deal with it. Now it's like It's like a mother and her child where she's like, oh, I didn't care about my life anymore, but now I have this baby. I don't have that. I have a band. And I had my own music and I was just doing my thing because I've always done music and that's never going to leave me. But now I have these people that rely on me and I really just don't ever want to let them down. So I really want to give them my best. And so I think I have a tendency to be really hard on myself, which I'm working on. We had band practice yesterday and I came in just like stressed out the gate and they were like, what's wrong? And I was like, well, we've got our first concert in June and I am just so worried that I am not going to be good enough for you guys. And they were like, no, you're fine. But I think I have some of that like imposter syndrome and I really just am striving for the best that I can give them 24/7.
The thing that I've tried to keep in mind is that our personalities, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, because it's a podcast, you give your opinions and you say it like it's fact, and you know, yes, you expect the world to just like adopt it. Because
everyone goes, yes,
because you have a podcast and other people don't, you know, obviously you're an expert.
Yeah, you have a fancy mic and headphones.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what
our
happens when I rant. That's what happens.
Our personalities are similar.
Oh no, okay. Our personalities are basically avatars that we adopt consciously and unconsciously because we identify with it. But we sometimes forget that our personalities can also just be molded because we have at least some subjective sense of free will to be able to enable us to do new things if we actually wanted to. Where do you think, where is it? How would you describe your own creative journey in parallel with things that you've learned about life so far and how your personality has affected that?
Oh,
I just want a 2-word answer for this.
2 words?
No. Because I just watch you like go through like every flashback all at once, and it was just like you know.
I think, gosh, it's been really interesting because obviously you're talking to, like, I'm a graphic designer now, branding and marketing, and I've gotten into social media marketing this year as well. Those are like huge. Mm-hmm. And as a musician, to be somewhat successful, you have to make yourself into a product. And I think when I first started putting out music with Living in Limbo, and even that really bad first album that I did that's only on YouTube.
You mean the one where you had one rap song?
Oh, that's Living in Limbo.
Oh. Okay, well, all right. You know, we'll just roll with it. Be all right.
You know what's so funny? I table that for a second. I put out a demo of Living in Limbo, which is the song that I rap on. Nobody listened to it. I put that out for shits and giggles on my YouTube account. And I was like, demo, blah, blah, blah. And then I went off my day. And then the producer that I was working with at the time that was producing my first album, like my first studio album, he found that demo and was like, so that's going on your album, right? And I said, hell no. And he was like,
did he like it?
Yes, he loved it. He was like, why not? And I was like, because I'm rapping on it. And then he convinced me to put it on there. And to this day, you know, I still listen to that song. And every time it plays and I hear myself, I'm like, but.
And for those who don't know, you actually have, what is it? You have a soprano voice. You can hit some of those high notes. And
I'm classically trained.
Since I've heard you actually sing those notes before, because you used to do theater, and I've heard you belt before. Yes. And then to hear that voice like rap, it's just like, what's going on here?
Like, very interesting. Not my thing. Yeah. And now I'm like practicing like not screaming, but like a little bit more like growl, like the more like rock elements, which is really fun vocally. But Living in Limbo was definitely me, and so was 14 Months in Total. And I had to start sitting there and thinking, who do I want Quinn Dorian to be? Because I'm not really her. I am, but I think the part of my true self blends into all of my music. But I do find a lot of enjoyment out of branding me as an artist. And I think that's what I've been doing lately, is not putting myself in a box, but putting myself in a little bit of a box and then letting my personality shine through that.
Extracting another avatar.
Yes, yeah. And maybe that's why I have been a little stressed with the band, because I'm trying to make sure that the avatar that I'm putting forth is the right one.
Now, are you still doing Quinn Dorian music and then the band music at the same time, or like are you swapping one out for the other?
I'm probably going to be swapping one out for the other. Quinn Dorian's still going to exist, and obviously my name in the band is Quinn Dorian, so like I'm still here, but my solo projects are going to take a halt while I focus on the band.
You only have so much time in the day.
Yeah, that's literally it. If I had more time, I would do so. If I had time and money, I would do both. But Quinn Dorian is probably going to take a halt for a while, and then I'm sure she'll come back later. But for now, Quinn Dorian's not dead, but she's hibernating.
She's frozen in carbonite.
She's frozen. Yeah. We did have some ideas on like our first music video being at the funeral for Quinn Dorian.
I think that's a good idea, honestly.
I think you
can make it funny. You could really make that funny if you really wanted to.
Yeah, like the band members are like crying over my grave, and then I come in between them looking like I'm supposed to be a part of the band, no longer looking like Quinn Dorian, and being like, oh, what are we sad about? And then the song starts.
You know what would be a cool idea is if everyone did that, like you all showed up for each other's funerals. It wasn't just you.
Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah.
Because I think that would be, I genuinely think that would be a cool idea. Unless, are you like the lead singer, I'm assuming? Because, soprano.
I am the lead singer. Yes. Actually, we spent like an hour. Our bassist was like, I might like to sing background vocals on this song. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. Do you want some assistance on what you should be singing? And they were like, yeah, next thing I know, I'm doing a full vocal lesson with the entire band. And they're all like dying on the inside. I think our keyboardist decided that she did not want to sing. we were doing it, and I looked at her, I was like, so how do you feel? And she was like, I think singing is my personal hell. And that's good.
Now, your new song, Blind Spots, you released that recently.
Yes.
I think like December. It was this last December, wasn't it? It was like a month ago.
So I released Blind Spots technically in November of 2024. And then
did you soft drop it and then make a music video for it like a year later, like 6 months later? Is that what happened?
There is perhaps a chance, but I didn't soft drop it. I think music videos just get more attention.
Yeah.
So I did a full marketing campaign for it, and it was my most listened to song of 2025. And then, because I released at the end of 2024, and then it got listened to, obviously. So I didn't get any stats for it for 2024 because we released it like right at the end of that year. Because it's a song about New Year's. And so it's basically a song about, for me, and I'm sure you know because you know me, I had been in these like really weird long-term relationships just straight out of high school. Or I would date someone, I wasn't treated right, but it didn't really matter. I would just continue dating them for like a long time. And then we'd break up. And I was like, I'm uncomfortable. And I would get in another one and I would do it again. And I would get in another relationship and I would do it again.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the song Blind Spots was basically is about that, where it's like I spent so much time taking care of other people that every single year that went by where I had this habit, which was 3 years in a row, or technically 4 years in a row if we're totaling all of it, at the end of every single year.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. At the end of every single year, I was like, oh my God, I just wasted a year of my life getting to know and taking care of someone else. And I haven't gotten to know myself as an adult at all. Like, I don't know who I am. I haven't taken care of myself in a year.
You were distracting yourself.
Yeah. I wasn't doing anything other than just like continuing on. And so I had just been doing so much caretaking over and over and over again. And I think it's a good song for anybody who feels this existential dread of New Year's. Of instead of the ball dropping, well, yes, of course, we all know this. But like this existential dread of like, oh my God, it's the same people who cry on their birthdays. You know, some people get really excited for their birthdays and some people cry on their birthdays. Mm-hmm. I get excited for my birthday. I cry on New Year's. New Year's always gets me where I'm like, oh, another year's passed. Have I done enough? Am I enough? Am I doing enough? And then the fear of what's going to happen in that next year.
The sense of being behind in life, especially in your 20s.
Yes. And for that song, for me specifically, it was the fear of like, am I going to get in another relationship? Is it going to be bad? And am I just going to keep watching myself do this till the end of time? And the song kind of concludes, maybe I'm just not meant for love because I keep doing it. But I think it was awesome releasing that. I wrote it actually earlier. I wrote it way back in 2022. We released it in 2024. I think I got it produced in 2023. We released it in 2024. And then at the end of 2025, around New Year's time, circled back around and put the music video out. And I think it was a good showing, which I don't think anybody's thinking as deep into it as I am, obviously, but of that continuous cycle where every New Year's Quinn's coming back with the song Blind Spots and being like, are you scared? Because maybe I am.
Right.
And yeah, so that is Blind Spots in the process of the song being kind of re-put out again this year. And with the music video, which Nick, which is was a friend of a friend and now just a good friend, he was the director of that music video.
Hold on. You said like grammatically that sounds like a promotion, but the way you said it sounds like he got demoted or something like that.
No. He was a friend of a friend. So like I knew him through someone else, and now he's my friend.
Okay. Well, never mind.
Like Nick was over here. I knew him through my friend John. You know John
Smith?
Yes. Yeah. He's a friend of John.
Smith? It's not Smith anymore. Never
Kennedy.
Mind. I forgot. Yep.
Or J. Ray, if you listen to his music. Jonathan Ray. Yeah. So I met Nick through John. And Nick reached out to me because he was interning at Sony Music Group in New York, and he's getting his master's in, some sort of communications. He's also another graphic designer as well. Mm-hmm. And this was for his, one of his like personal projects for his finishing up his master's degree. So.
Okay.
It was really fun. He reached out and he's like, I really want to do a music video for you, and I really want it to be Blind Spots. And I said, that's perfect, because Blind Spots is supposed to come back around to haunt everyone once a year.
You should re-release Blind Spots as like a new song for your band, just to keep haunting people with it.
Oh my gosh, if we did like a punk pop rendition of Blind Spots, all right, I gotta get on that. I'm sure they'll be down.
I think that would be, because rock bands, or I don't know, how would you describe it? You said punk rock, or like where's the?
See, I'm really afraid
Can you put a
of
label on it for me?
alternative is the best label I can give you, just like how 21 Pilots can only be called alternative.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah, it's yeah.
if I'm to give you a reference on what the music is gonna sound like, think Paramore, Avril Lavigne.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that. Because I know you tend to go higher pitched in some of your songs, and I noticed that at sometimes it kind of clashes a little bit with like some of your older songs it clashes a little bit with the style that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And where have you guys have you guys found the balance between all of your guys' talents and the end product that you guys want to put out?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think everyone's very open to making the best sound possible. And we did, like, when we started the band, we sat down and kind of talked about. Now, I was the one who kind of brought forward the band. I put out like a casting call, actually. And I was basically just like, I'm doing a music project. If you're a musician, singer, anything of the sort, reach out to me. And that's all I said. And I put that on my Instagram story and on a Snapchat story. And I put that out for 2 days in a row. And that's all I did. And I didn't do anything else. And I got the band through that. And then the first practice where they all came. So it was basically like they all came to me and they were like, so I mean, I ended up telling them that the project was to be a band. So they knew that. But I like ended up sitting down and was like, this is the vibe. This is kind of what we're going for. How are we feeling? And they were all like, yes. So we already had kind of a brand and vibe in mind. And then now it's just taking everyone's talents and seeing how we can point them in that direction. Our drummer's already there, and our bassist was already there. Our guitarist, which I was really excited about, has more of a he listens to a lot of, I don't want to say like divorced dad rock.
Nickelback.
Like he's got or some even like more like classic he's gonna get so upset if I butcher this type of music he listens to. But it's his guitar playing is a little bit more oldies. And it's been fun kind of integrating some of that as well as more of a like Midwest emo like punk style into it. So we've been able to kind of have our own sound, and I think we have a really specific trajectory of what we want the music to sound like. So sometimes we'll play something and we'll all look at each other and be like, no, 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 no. And we'll kind of gear things a little bit differently. I also do majority of the composition. So I write a lot of people's parts and then I hand them their parts and I sit down with them and then we work on it together. So
You didn't used to do that. Like you used to have this idea of like a progression and a melody, and you would write it out on the piano just to see what the progression is like. How has that process changed and evolved now that you're, trying to give some direction for different aspects of the layering process for music?
yeah, what I do now is obviously we do that whole songwriting thing where I meet with them. We maybe write some stuff together and then I send them on their way so I can write stuff alone. I write an entire song alone, or I've been writing songs with our keyboardist a lot too. She's been like there are some people that I find it really easy to collaborate with. And so sometimes somebody will come to me with just like a melody and they'll be like, oh, here is sometimes what I get is a book of lyrics where they go, here, I have this. And then ba-da-da, that's the melody I was thinking of. And then they just hand that to me and then they disappear. And I write the two together. Like that's
Don't you love it when other artists just do a hit and run on you? Be like, I trust you. Sweet.
That's literally the majority of the band where they throw something at me. They throw two things at me and they go, see you later. And then I come back with a song. And after that, what we've been doing is I send them the demo, which is basically just me sitting at my keyboard playing just the straight up keyboard melody. I send that to them. I tell them you have to listen to it or else, and they do. And then they go, nice. And then I take that into GarageBand, and I will go out and I will write everybody's parts. And while I'm in the process of doing that, a lot of times whoever I wrote it with, we'll send songs. We have like a joint group chat. We'll send songs from other artists that we really appreciate that kind of fit a similar vibe.
Kind of like
we'll
a musical vision board.
Yes. So we we make like an auditory vision board, and we're like, for this song, this is what we're thinking. We'll even send like pictures. My keyboardist is also really good with like branding and design. So we'll make we have like whole entire Pinterest boards dedicated to different songs, different vibes for where we want to go branding wise for the band. And then I write everybody's parts in GarageBand. I give them the demo GarageBand file, and then I send them obviously their separate stems so they can listen to just their part. Mm-hmm. And they are all very aware that that is just the skeleton. And a lot of them, like, stuff will get changed from there, but that's kind of the base of where the song is. And then most of the time, like our guitarist or our bassist will come up and be like, I actually thought about this bass line instead. But it's not until like weeks later after like they got to sit and hold the song and like we played it together a few times with the original melody.
In film, it's a similar step to seeing the rough cut of something, and only filmmakers, when they look at the rough cut, actually know what they're looking at when it comes to like the final end product of what's going to be. Because if anybody else saw the rough cut of a film, they would be like, we've wasted, or like if producers in their first time actually funding a production and they've never done it before, they don't know the rough cut process, they'd be like, oh my God, I wasted all my money.
Yes.
Guys,
Yes. That's exactly how it is. Especially when I send them just me sitting at the piano and like playing. The amount of non-musical people that I've showed songs to where it's like a demo, it's just like me singing to my piano. And I'll be like, this is a song I wrote. And they'll be like, cool, is it going to be an acoustic song? Because they just heard me play it on piano. And I'll be like, no, I was like, you can't hear all the instruments in there already? You can't hear it how it's already going to sound.
Mm-hmm. Do you have somebody in the band that, or is this more of your role because you're getting more into like a digital production aspect when it comes to layering and composing? Are you going to be the one mastering the end, or are you going to have somebody come in and, tidy things up?
We are going to work with someone to come and mix and master the track. So there's an excellent producer from the UK that I've been talking to for the past year. We were actually going to do Quinn Dorian stuff, and then I ended up saying, actually, I'm going to put a pause because I have an entire EP written for Quinn Dorian stuff. Actually, we're going to move over here. And so, yeah, he'll be the one doing our mixing and mastering. And I also think I'm going to get us into a legitimate studio and have somebody professionally do the recording as well.
Okay. What are the business talks that you guys have done? Because obviously I would imagine ideally you'd like to try to make some money off of this. Have you guys laid out some type of rough roadmap as to where you would like to go and the strategy of how you're going to release music?
Yeah. The first time that we met, we sat down and I basically was like, so I'm taking this seriously. I was like, obviously I want us to have fun. That's the whole point. This is supposed to be healing. This is supposed to be fun, but we're also supposed to be taking it seriously. Money is the thing that always comes into play, where it's like, we're together as a band. I said, this is my goal, because we met, I think, last year in June, all together. And I said, a year from now, we're going to be getting into the studio and putting out and recording practically an EP. My plan is to release each one as singles. That way each song has its own promotional period as well as its own branding, because we're introducing a whole band, and who cares about this band? So it's a lot easier for people to digest one song than if we dropped an entire like half album on them. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be recording like 5 to 6 songs come June. I told them this before we had ever played any music together. And I was like, and that's going to cost money. That's going to cost us about $5,000. And I said, and then we need live.
So you're talking like a year out from it. So you're giving apt notice.
Yes, a year out. And I was like, and then 6 months from there, from June, which the timeline's been brought up because we've been asked to play in June. So our first concert's going to be in June. Originally, our EP was going to be in June, and then 6 months from there, we were going to put out, like, we were going to go play live down in the Cincinnati area, which is still going to be the goal. I actually think it's really good that we have a concert in June, because then I can get them on stage and get them used to performing live and performing the kind of music that we're performing. But I was like, so
you're the only one with live performance experience?
My drummer has live performance experience, and that's it. So I have a group of the most creative and talented people that I know, and they're all like, I've never been up there before.
But you guys should just all do a theater production, like,
truly,
just to get your feet wet.
And they're all like, I'm telling you, Anthony, they're cutie patooties. They're all so marketable. Like, I really think people are gonna love them. Like, they're all so lovable. So I'm excited to put them out. Who
doesn't love being called a cutie patootie?
Everybody's a cutie patootie, dude. I've got a band full of cutie patooties, and I'm so ready to put them out. But I'm glad we have a concert in June to get some of their like nervous jitters of live performance. Because it's not going to be a full concert. It'll just be like a 3-4 song like concert. Then it'll be one and done. So it'll get them a little bit used to it, and then they can take in how it feels. But I was like, we'll need $5,000 for the EP. And then a few months after that, we're going to be playing live. And what that means, guys, is that we need live equipment to play with. And that's going to be another $5,000. So I talked with them from the get-go that everybody is basically having to save $2,000 for the band.
I mean, a year heads up, though. That's
a year heads up for $1,000, and then they don't need the other $1,000 for another 6 months. And they were all like, okay. And it stuck. Like, we set the expectations from the beginning. And I think getting some of those gigs, like actually reaching out and being like, we're going to be playing in June, is making it feel really real for them, which is good. It's been getting them more excited too. So it's the band, like, everybody communicates. So with the business talks have gone over really easily, because I think we all really want to make it work. Our guitarist was like, I'd quit my job and move to Nashville, and we'd all live in one house together if we needed to. And I was like, I love that commitment. Okay, King, we're probably not going to do that, but I like that you're there.
I like the attitude. So, no, not doable.
It's, well, if we had to, like, if we ever got signed somewhere where they wanted us to stay in that area, I totally would. I don't care. We're all going to die one day. Why not have fun? But, I think I just got really lucky, and I found a group of people that are so dedicated to making it work that every single business talk and communication has been so easy. And
is that the moment when you realized I found the right people? Wasn't necessarily from the creative aspect, but how they responded to the business aspect?
Yes. Yeah. And I think the first time that we played through one of our original songs, there was a moment when we were playing the first song that my keyboardist and I wrote. We played through it all as a band, and like, we all, like, I think I got chills. And after the song was over, we all just stood there and stared at each other. And like my keyboardist and my bassist were like, what the hell was that? Because it felt right. And I think that was the moment too where I could just tell that everybody felt like
you guys are on the same
they were
frequency.
supposed to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the most fulfilling process or part of the process of creating music in a group compared to just isolated by yourself?
The most fulfilling part of being by yourself is, I think it's really similar to meditation, where you have to sit with, it's just you, and you can't lie to anybody because it's just you. And you really get to open up in a safe way because there's nobody there to judge you. I think the best part when you're with people, though, especially people that you love and you trust, it's like that solo, but a little bit scarier because you're opening up to people that you don't know, as well as you know yourself.
Right.
And
there's this sense of also, sorry to interrupt, this sense of catching them up to speed of who you are, you know?
Yes.
And then trying to get on the same frequency.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. I think when we started writing songs with our guitarist wanted to write a song with us. He said he's like, I have lyrics, I have things to share. And then we sat down and I was like, I was flipping through his notebook of all of his lyrics and I was like, oh, okay, so tell me about, and it was just some really deep, like heartfelt things that he was saying in there. And I'd look at him and he would just be like, and I was like, come on, King, you got to talk to me about it.
You're like, let the walls down, let them down like just a little bit so we can make eye contact, you know?
Yeah, we really had, I think it's the beauty of tearing walls down and doing it in a creative way where we're here to like share a story. Like the song that we wrote with him was all about the way that he interacted with the world around him, and how he felt about like his own friendships and like his relationships. And my keywords and I wrote most of the lyrics, but a lot of the lyrics were from this long conversation we had with him, as well as looking through all of his songwriting journals. And I think sitting there and being able to tear your walls down in front of people is a lot more beautiful than doing it by yourself. But it's also just community. I think it's what humans are supposed to do. Like we're supposed to be there for each other. We're supposed to like bounce off of one another. We're not supposed to be doing it alone.
Yeah, the internet is the complete antithesis of the natural connection that humans are actually supposed to be able to have. And I say that on a remote podcast over the internet.
That's true. That's also the reason I think why the band has been the highlight of my past year is because we meet once a week, right? For about 3-4 hours. And so every week for about 3 to 4 hours, I'm not looking at my phone once. I'm not doing anything except for making music. And I think that's probably why it's so healing. It's not only like face-to-face communication with people who have my best interest at heart and I have their best interest at heart, as well as like, I'm not touching my phone at all.
That's something I've been doing a lot more actually recently, because I bought this little like phone blocker, but it's a brick, you know, like a little digital brick that syncs up to your phone, and then you basically, when I use it for locking my phone, because it wasn't until I bought this that I realized how chronic I used my phone, just unconsciously, if it's next to me, even though I'm trying to be productive. And I think artists, especially nowadays, we need to be bored a little bit more often.
Yes. Oh my. And it's so hard as a creative to separate yourself from that. And I'm sure you deal with the same thing where a lot of your more like super successful like musician friends and like film friends, they're all on social media all the time and they're always posting.
That's a double whammy.
It is, and like that's what you need to do. And I would assume people say the same thing about me. Quinn's always posting, Quinn's always on there. And it's that difference of like what I have been trying to do is like post and then like and I shut it down and I don't look at it. And so I'm like posting regularly, but like I'm off. And it's been really hard because my goal this year leading up to the band being released was to create a following for myself. Because I didn't really have one. I never put any effort into getting one. So I started like posting regularly. And now I'm up to, we're almost at what, 20,000 followers on TikTok. And
Oh, is it that much? I haven't checked.
yeah, it's something crazy dumb. Like, and it's been interesting. Like I've gotten brand deals and been doing all like the influencery stuff. And like it's a nightmare. But the fans that I've made from it and my music listens and streams have not doubled. I think they've like tripled, quadrupled.
Oh wow.
Ever since just being on social media more. But social media also makes me want to like jump out a window. And so it's that like I know if people don't know you exist, nobody's gonna listen to your music. It's kind of like the best actor in the world is probably serving tables somewhere in New York, and you're never gonna see them perform in a movie. You have to be able to get yourself out there. But then also social media is like horrid and awful, and I hate it.
It's like an abomination that has kind of just leashed itself onto humanity in that way.
Yes.
But now it's symbiotic, and we can't really get rid of it because now it's so integrated into
You
the way
can't like
things
live
happen.
without it either.
It used to be optional. Now, if you want to actually promote yourself because of how decentralized the things that the internet has made them to be, if you're not doing it, nobody's going to know. And there's really no way to get into the industry anymore because now everything more or less is actually outside of the studio's, the industry's control. It's this
Yeah,
other
and
thing now.
most people will not give you the time of day in the industry unless you have more than 10,000 followers on any platform. And that's a full-time job in itself, but social media, I think, does kill a lot of creativity. My motto this year, and one of the reasons I started doing social media, was this motto of create more than consume. And so that's why I've been trying to shut off social media as soon as I post, because my goal is not to consume, my goal is to create. And so as long as I'm creating more than I'm consuming, I think I'm doing okay. And that has been kind of a mental lifesaver for me, where if I start like scrolling and getting really deep into whatever social media platform I'm on, I have that little like minion in the back of my head that's like, are you creating more than you're consuming? I don't think so. And then I'm not, and then I have to get off. Or it's like, girl, if you've been on TikTok for an hour, you better have made one. You better have made one.
Facts, honestly. It's a little bit, from my perspective, it's a little bit harder as a writer because, like, well, if I'm not in there's nothing glamorous about the writing process. In fact, it's probably the opposite of glamorous. And like maybe I could turn my writing sessions into like a live lo-fi channel, but that's about it. Like I can't do anything other than that. But when it comes to creativity, like being in the zone, whether it's like from solitude or collaboration, both of which you have to feel, your nervous system has to feel safe in order to produce. And the way the internet and social media, if it's used chronically, consciously and unconsciously, it just, I don't know what it does to your nervous system, but I know it drains you psychologically. And artists need to be more bored.
Constant dopamine hits, where I think music and art is such a lengthy process. And so you don't really feel any dopamine from it until like the end. Like I'm writing a song and I'm getting a lot out of writing it, mostly because it's probably about a topic that I would like to delve into mentally. But I don't really get that dopamine hit until I go back and I listen to what I wrote the next day. And so like that's like a 7 to 10 hour process. And I'm sure you write like a couple pages of a script, that doesn't really give you a dopamine hit. You might get that dopamine hit when your script is finished. You might get it when you're actually at the studio and you see the
sometimes
actors.
It's more like relief than it is dopamine. It's more like,
you're like, oh my God. Yeah, true. Oh my gosh. Because when I released the 14 Months in Total album in secret, when I released that, I didn't even get a dopamine hit. It was like a relief that it wasn't in my hands anymore, that it was just out. I was like, I don't know, just take it. I don't care anymore.
Feels more like bloodletting sometimes.
Yes. And so when you're so used to that constant, like I make you laugh, I make you cry, you're entertained. It's so hard to not get that. Right. And then you're not going to get that when you're creative. Yeah, definitely. I think we all need to be very, very bored.
Chronic boredom is...
Yes, I think it would help.
Is an artist's greatest tool, honestly.
That's when you start making stupid stuff because you're bored.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you're when you're kids and you discover you have this creative nature, it's usually because like your parents, your mom or your dad told you couldn't go do the thing that you really enjoyed to do, and you just sit there by yourself, and suddenly you're starting to fiddle with whatever is in front of you, and you're like, wait, you mean I can augment reality into something that I think is more palatable and more fun? Wow, I should do more of this stuff.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the reasons I started playing Dungeons and Dragons too.
I never got into that. I think I know I would want to be a dungeon master. That's what I would want to be.
That's what I am. I am a dungeon master. Yes, I am. I write too, Anthony. Check it.
Apparently.
Yeah, I wrote an entire homebrew campaign. I wrote a homebrew campaign that was like it was called The Forgotten Ring, and it's a what is it? What do you have when you forget? An amnesia campaign. It was an amnesia campaign where basically, I don't know how much you know about Dungeons and Dragons. You have like a character sheet that you write up. You make up a character.
I know.
And you write all the stats.
Moderate amount of it.
Yeah. So in the Forgotten Ring campaign, I wrote all of the characters myself, and I assigned them to the players. And when they started the game, they didn't know anything about their characters. Their character sheet was blank. And it was an amnesia campaign. They woke up not knowing who they were. And the whole goal of the campaign was for them to find themselves.
I like that idea. That's really interesting.
It was really, really fun. It was really, and I spent all my time writing. And when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, it's exactly like playing pretend. It's exactly like playing pretend as like a little kid. And I know it gets made fun of by some people. It's a very nerdy activity. But I also think
you can make it what you want it to be, though. That's the thing about it. You can do full-on role playing, or it can just be like a time where you kind of laugh. That's it.
That's true. You have to kind of suspend your like belief and actually get into the story. Where if I tell you walk into a cave, you actually have to imagine I am in a cave now, and I think that's so healthy. Yeah, I truly think it's so healthy for the brain. Like, I think it's so good for us. If everyone ate their vegetables and everyone played Dungeons and Dragons, I think we would be in a better place in society.
I was about to ask you, like, what's your final piece of advice, but I think it's right there. I think that's it.
Everybody go listen to the band when the band comes out with music. I'm going to be putting out some stuff, obviously, when we'll have our first concert. It's going to be a little bit on the down low, but keep an eye out for if you stay on my social media pages, I'll be getting some stuff out about the band, and then obviously the band will have all of its own social media.
Where can people find you at?
You can find me at Quinn_Dorian on Instagram, and then you can also find me on TikTok. If you just look up my name, Quinn Dorian, on TikTok, you should find it. But I think my username on there is Strawberry Dorian.
Oh, let me guess. Quinn Dorian was taken up because the email you sent me, it was just Quinn like, Dorian somebody took the email too.
Yeah, my email's weird. No, Quinn Dorian actually wasn't taken as a username. Strawberry Dorian was a hint to the solo project that I've already written that isn't out yet. That is an album that was originally going to be called Strawberry Lady. and all the songs are written for that. They're just sitting in an archive somewhere, and
they're buried.
they'll
in a
be
cave,
out. They're
in a
buried
Dungeons
somewhere.
and
They're all
Dragons
very
campaign.
good. They're very good. They just don't. They're not out yet. So, and then obviously YouTube. But if you find me on Instagram or TikTok, I have a link tree to everything else, and you should watch my music video Blind Spots on YouTube.
Well, Quinn, it's been great catching up, and thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been great catching up.